Hi again. My name is Rebel and I'm the Rebel Reseller, and today we're doing the second half of my What Sold video, which should have went out on Sunday but didn't. But it is for last weekend, November 7th through the 9th, and my sales were still booming, still hot. Had some couple of really high dollar toy sales, and then a lot of bread and butter, and then a lot of better. So it's been an interesting month for sure.
That it has. It's been a good month.
It's been a very good month. You know, I've compared notes with a few of my closest friends, and they're saying they've done very well too this month. So
Yep. So hopefully that's happening for everybody. It's fourth quarter. It should be happening in general, but hopefully ours is even better than last year's, which is good. So
yes,
and last year was, like we
our
talked in the
best
last
year
video, it was like our best year. So
ever.
this year is better than, or this month is better
This
than
month,
last
not this
month.
year.
So hope you all are having the same kind of luck with your sales.
And you know, and I know there's probably people that aren't, but as toy resellers, we work the whole year for now. So that's the difference between some resellers. You know, some people find this is the slowest time because they sell stuff that people aren't buying as gifts. So,
And, you know, people have mentioned too, the economy, our economy is a little odd this year. It's been odd for a few years now. And, you know, that may drive more online sales from some people and fewer online sales from other people. So it's just kind of who knows what we're going to get from that sort of thing.
yep.
But I said, I hope y'all are having good luck with your sales too. And that reminded me, RJ's doing world history and he's going through the Roman sort of era right now. And he, you know, Seneca came up as a philosopher, author or something from way back then. And I was like, you know, Seneca's got some good quotes. So I went and I fetched some extra quotes from Seneca that he and I can talk about. And we went through some the other day. And he's like, how many quotes did you get? And I was like, pretty much everything Seneca wrote. And not really. But one of them said, and it goes back to the luck thing. Luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
Boom. Exactly. We did a lot of sourcing this year. More than
last year.
More than last year. More than we've ever done. You know, just had lots of trips. Did a different sourcing. Picked up a lot of nice stuff, high dollar stuff. And now it's the opportunity. You know, I'm selling a lot of this stuff that I've, you know, curated. I like that word. Curated
and the
all
stuff,
year.
And the stuff that we've purchased in the past that ended up didn't sell, hasn't sold for a while. You've put in the effort and you've reduced their prices to get them out of the store.
And they're moving.
So you did the work, you did the preparation. Opportunity time is here in fourth quarter, and now we're getting the luck.
Yep. All right. Well, don't have any sales to share with you from Etsy that weekend, but since then I think I've sold like 10, 12, 15, something like that.
I think you need to throw some thank yous out there to a few ladies that, you know, Rebel ends all these videos with, all right, y'all, time to get to work. Well, that's what they did to her. They said, all right, Rebels, time to get to work on Etsy. And she did.
Yep. I've had several people like sending me messages, calling me, don't give up on Etsy. You've got to get more stuff on there. And I did. And, you know, just in the last 2 days, I've sold 5. So, I mean, it's happened too. My friend Rhonda, as soon as I mentioned in a video that I was thinking about giving up on Etsy, she sent me a message. She is got junk in our trunk. She's like, it's hot right now. She's booming in there, and just get more stuff listed. Don't give up. And then my friend Amanda, who is Fiona's Finds and
Rocket City
Resellers, and they have a Facebook page, Resellers Refuge. She called me. She's like, no, get working on it. And so I did. And it's hopping right now. And I just got to do the work. And I did. But it didn't help me last weekend. All right, so let me go ahead and show you some of the stuff that sold in my eBay, and then Robert's eBay actually started rebounding back. So I've got a lot to share there also. First thing to share with you, I picked this puppet up, I want to say at an estate sale. I did not realize it had lots of issues. The tusks had some coating on it that was flaking off terribly. I showed close-up pictures of that, but it sold very, very quickly for $13. So it was still a quick sell and still at profit. I think I paid $2 for it. These M&Ms, y'all, I picked all these up at the high bid estate sale that we won, I think the first year we ever were doing videos. So it's been 3 or 4 years ago. This was what was
2021.
2021. This was what was left. And I was just, you know, I've been telling you guys, I've been making lots. I've been taking stuff down, doing these big lots, and they're selling. They're selling. Not for a lot, specifically this one, but they are all gone. Officially, no more M&Ms though. They take too long to sell. But this entire lot sold for $20. Sunny Company doll puppet. I want to say I picked these up at the bins. Maybe. I picked up a couple. Some of them were Folk Manus and some of them were Sunny Company. And I've sold most of them, I think, already. This particular one sold for $22. Jellycat, little purple unicorn. This was a bins pickup. Bread and butter-ish, a little bit better. But the unicorns just don't do well on there. It finally sold for $17. Barefoot Dreams. Isn't that like a clothing? I think that's a clothing line. We've picked up a couple of things in that line, but there was this Lovey that is also of that brand, and it sold for $14. We picked this up just in the last few weeks at a yard sale. I didn't want to get out of the car. Robert got out and he picked up this dog and showed it to me. And so here I am getting out of the truck because I knew what it was. It was a Webkins. It's one of the gold signature ones. And he just drops it and walks off. I was like, don't do that. And then I think I found something else there that day. I want to say I either paid 50 cents or $1 each. And it sold. It does not have its code. I put that everywhere. There's a item specific that says, you know, what does it have a code or not. So I put no code there. I put it in the title. I put it in the conditions just so there's no, because if it had the code, it would of course sold for a whole lot more. But it still sold very quickly, $26.95. This is from the large lot of vintage Fisher Price that I picked up at a local thrift store. Paid $65 for all of it. I am way into profit at this point. This is just the boat that goes on top of a pop-up camper, and it sold for $15. 24K, Beanie Boppers, Mighty Star. There's all kinds of names for this title, or the manufacturer. This was Ashes, the cat, and it sold for $13.45. Dakin. I pick up most Dakin. Some of it's bread and butter. Some of it sells for a whole lot more. This is the Peach Heart Belly Bear, and it sold for $10, but it had been listed forever. Took forever to sell. Molinex meat grinder. Again, I've been lowering the prices on a lot of the small appliance parts. Just not something we're probably going to do very much anymore, unless it's like big bucks. And it sold for $17.95.
And definitely clean.
And clean. Disney Rex the Dinosaur plush sold for $10.49. La La Loopsy. This was actually in a little sandwich bag in the bins. So it was all of its accessories. I think there was one thing missing. I can't quite remember based on the pictures that I saw. But it sold, again, so quickly. $15.25. Tie Classic. I love picking up tie now. The classics, the tie buddies, but not so much the beanies. This was a Calico Cat from 2007. Sold for $24.25. This was an Eden Tan Bear plush. A lot of the small bears don't sell for a whole lot. This sold for $8.96. The Wuzzles. This was a cute coloring book. Got a sweet message from a mama. This was going to be going in a Christmas stocking. They were thrilled. Sold for $9.50. Nice sale. This is Kids Preferred star-shaped elephant. Anytime I find star-shaped plush, I think Fisher-Price maybe has a line also. But this took about 3 months to sell, but it sold for full price, $49.95. Another Thai plush. This is Pepper the dog from 1996. No paper tags, sold for $10. Ralph Lauren women's pants sold for $15.94. This is by Superior Toy and Novelty Company. It's a clown. I'm going to pick it up. And it was also nylon, like the Puffalumps, but not Puffalumps. Sold for $8.06. This is a viewer sale, so thank you so much, Samantha. Samantha purchased this Hardee's Kidco wallet. This was also from the high bid estate sale that we won several years ago. You know, I've got probably 3 or 4 totes of stuff left out of 2/3 of a trailer that we picked up that day. So, you know, it's still moving, and I appreciate Samantha for purchasing the wallet. DC Comics minifigures. These sold for $10. These were from the bins. Picked up a bunch. This was the only one that I had a complete set of, but I ended up listing probably 5 or 6 lots of these. Each time I didn't have, you know, a certain one, I would make that a lot and just kept going. This was, though, a complete set from 2024 of Inside Out Happy Meal toys, and they sold for $30.
We had a comment. We talked about taxes in our last video, and we had a comment about what you can actually take as deductions kind of thing. And
there's lots.
We're not accountants, we're not attorneys, we're not tax professionals. But in general, these are the types of things that we have taken off. You do your own research, get your own self in trouble with the government and the IRS. But legitimate business expenses, and what is legitimate is the IRS gets to determine that, or your state taxing authority. But things you can take off, the things you buy to resell, mileage, software you use like List Perfectly, My Reseller Genie, if you buy Excel or anything like that to use, office supplies, printers, papers.
Yeah, anytime you upgrade your equipment, definitely can write them off.
There are specific rules about whether you deduct equipment this year or you depreciate it, and there's a look up the rule as to there's a limit at what is
dollar value
less than this you can deduct for as an expense rather than depreciate over years. We do YouTube, so we have camera expenses, microphones. We have website hosting services, kind of a software thing.
Your phone, your internet service, you can take a percentage. You just kind of have to decide how much of your internet are you using for business? How much of your phone's service are you using for business? And, then you can write all that off.
A good tax professional can help you with making that a CPA or a tax preparer. Shipping supplies.
You said that, I think.
I did say shipping supplies?
I think so.
I like shipping supplies.
It's a major expense when, you ship as much as we do.
Yeah, early on we used to get boxes from friends and
Walmart
and the dollar stores and stuff like that. But once we started, we went from 1,000 to 10,000 listings, and the sales went up quite a bit. It just wasn't practical to go scavenge anymore.
No.
So if you're not selling a lot and you're just starting out and you're getting for free, great.
Home office
expense.
Definitely check into that one.
Any sort of travel expenses, if you go on a sourcing trip overnight, that sort of thing you can take. And meals, some meals are deductible. There are rules on that. Look into that to see specifically which ones of those you can deduct. Did I forget anything major? I
don't-
think
I
that's
don't think
the
so.
gist of it. Anything that you are legitimately spending
For your business.
you can take off.
Yep.
You just got to make sure that what you decide is legitimate is the same thing that the taxing authorities say is legitimate.
Next thing that sold were these Hallmark Winnie the Pooh tree ornaments. I want to say I picked this up at an estate sale, probably like $1, and then I realized there were more pieces in the box than what was on the box, so I just kept it all together in a lot. Sold for $15. Smile International Kodak Film Plush. Pretty sure this is from the high bid estate sale also. It sold for $12. There was a lot of advertising plush and stuff in that lot that we won online. Blood Brothers Jigsaw Puzzle. This was a sealed puzzle, so we didn't have to put it together. If we'd had to put that thing together, we wouldn't have bought it. No way. That's just not a fun looking puzzle. Nevertheless, it sold for $13.45. This one, man, y'all, this sold instantly. I could find nothing on these teeny tiny little wool plush. The tags were original. You can see there one of them was 5 cents from Carson Peary Scott Company. They sold instantly. So I don't know, but I mean, literally, they were just, this big. $26.95. They were in the bin, so probably not even 15 cents for them because they were just itty bitty. Walmart Fluffy White Cat. I pick up a lot of vintage Walmart. Sold for $15. Big sale of the weekend. Finally got Robert to pack these. They were a pain. And he had to build a box around it. I think you showed working on this in the live.
I think yeah,
so.
I showed one of them.
It was like, cut and paste and just tape and everything. But it sold really, really quickly. I think I paid like $65 for 3 of the Great Adventure sets at a thrift store. So $25 each. And this one sold for $149.95. Hammered metal ice buckets. I'm not buying ice buckets anymore. They take forever. Sold for $13.45. This was another surprise. I like Discovery Toys. I used to buy it when my kids were little. I had a hard time finding this doll. I think there was a different colored one. But I think I ended up having to go to WorthPoint, that's when it pays for it, right? When you can't find it anywhere, not product research, not on Google. And I think I found something. And so I bumped the price accordingly because I think it had sold a while ago. And it sold very, very quickly, $59.95. IKEA Beaver Brown Plush sold for $22. Mary Meyer Koala Bear Plush sold for $26.95. A lot of $20+ plush, which is really nice. This is something Robert picked up. Don't remember how much he paid for them, but they were all fretboard journal guitar magazines. And they sold for $35.95. Animal Adventure, cute little tan sheep plush sold for $15.25. Wrangler Rock 47 women's jeans sold for $13.21. Busia Gallery of Stitches tree skirt. That's what got me going. I knew I had to say tree skirt. Sold for $15. I think I bought a bunch of these, like $2 at a church sale this summer. Fiesta Pink Lamb Sheep Plush sold for $30. Jimmy Cow Musical Plush. So I do have a video showing it works. Sold for $19. I wanted to keep these. Robert said no. But I picked these up when we were in Missouri. We went to a town-wide yard sale. They were $5. Nice. I like Oneida stainless steel flatware. These were actually the Atomic Starburst. They sold, let me see, very, very quickly. I paid $5 for them, and they sold in about 2 weeks for $72.
We have the ongoing silverware issues in our house that we talked about, and I'm not putting that kind of good silverware in our house to get lost.
To get thrown away. Disney Zoom Zoom, Mickey Mouse and Donald. These are the larger 12-inch plush. I don't think I'll pick them up anymore. They take, again, forever. Sold for $13.45. Maison Chic Tooth Fairy plush. Sold for $8.96. Quick sell. Bread and butter. Tigers and lions, another one of those things I probably will steer clear of unless I've checked comps personally. Sometimes, when you're at the bins, you're just getting the stuff that, you like. I could tell it looks vintage, but then there was no tag. Sold finally, though, for $9.86. Vintage Christmas gift wrap. Y'all, this has been listed 3, 4, 5 years. Finally took an offer of $32 for them. Mattel Barbie Pretty in Plaid doll with the cute little bobblehead dog lot. Picked this up at the bins, $12.11. Needlepoint Christmas stocking. Oh, this sold almost right after I listed it also. Get that Christmas stockings listed, especially these needlepoint ones. This one sold very quickly, $12. Another nice sell, y'all. I really, really wanted to keep this for my wall till I looked up the price. Can't do it. I've got money up on the wall, but there are other rumples that I will find eventually, and I'll put one up on my wall. But the dark brown ones and the tan one, they go for a lot. There's blue ones and pink ones and yellow ones. They don't sell for as much. So whenever I find one of them, I'll put one on my wall because I want to kind of sort of have an example of a lot of things that I love that are Fisher Price on my wall. But this sold very quickly for full price, $89.95. Clown face Christmas balls. I think somebody painted these. I couldn't quite tell. They did have some discoloration. The brand is Christmas by Krebs, and they sold for $20. Pillow Fort weighted plush. There are some of these Pillow Fort weighted ones that sell for quite a bit. This was just one of those okay priced ones. The pink dinosaur sold for $22.45. They're heavy though, so you're paying probably $3-4 for them at the bins. Micro Machine. I picked this up at our big yard sale that we have in our town every year. It was supposed to go with another lot that I actually have listed, but I think the bags got separated. I didn't want to redo this huge picture I have of the large lot of them, so I thought I'll just do these by themselves. And they sold very quickly, $26.95. If I didn't say these are Micro Machines. Picked these up at the bins. They're water bottle holders. I couldn't quite tell what they were, but just something told me, somebody who's going to go to the Disney or Epcot might be interested in getting these before they pay the price of them at the Disney parks. And they sold very quickly, $17.95. Yeah, sold in like 6 days. Another viewer sale, so thank you so much, Candace. Candace bought this Linus from Peanuts little rubber figure toy for $8.06. So thanks again, Candace. Riders by Lee. These were, still had their paper tags attached. Sold for $15. And last but not least was this vintage game called Orda 123 Go, sold for $8.96. And then for Robert, first thing to share with you are these women's Aeropostale wide leg jeans, sold for $20. 7 women's jeans, sold for $17.52. Croft and Barrow men's button shirt, sold for $11.41. Levi's 512 women's jeans, sold for $12. Levi's 2-horse black chino pants, sold for $19.54. Spence floral printed shirt, sold for $14. And last but not least, American Eagle kick boot pants, sold for $15.58. Got anything to add to this video?
I have nothing to add. I just need to go get it edited so we can get it out. And then hopefully this week we'll actually be on time with videos instead of days and days late.
Yes, it's just busy, but we've got lots of estate sales to go to this weekend. So, hopefully I'll have some cool stuff to get listed and sell as quickly as a lot of my stuff is selling right now. It's been amazing. But it's time to get to work. I do plan on getting a different video out this week, an extra video, so stay tuned for that. Perfect time of year for my next video. All right, bye.